Hi, this is Matthew Park with UILOC. This is the 7th grade math preview video. Let's get started with number 1. Bart wants to buy at least 50 fruit snacks for the Valentine's treats. One fruit snack pack contains 6 pieces. Write an inequality for the least number of fruit snack Bart will need to buy. Well, we know that we want 50 fruit snacks. And we also know that these fruit snacks come in packs of 6. So if we wanted to write an inequality for this, what we could say is that x represents the number of 6 packs that we will buy. And we could write it as 6x. This would represent the number of snacks total we will have. We know that we need at least 50 fruit snacks, so that this portion, or the total number of snacks we will buy from the 6 packs, will have to be greater than or equal to 50. This will make our answer D, or the 4th one. In other words, what this inequality is saying is that if x represents the number of 6 packs we will buy, 6x represents the total number of fruit snacks we'll get from the 6 packs, and that number has to be greater than or equal to 50 for us to get at least 50 fruit snacks. Let's move on to number 2. Solve for x in the expression below and mark the correct answer. When you're working with inequalities or less than or greater than signs, they pretty much work the same way as an equal sign, except that if you divide or multiply by a negative number, you'll have to flip the greater than sign to the other side. So keeping that in mind, we can pretty much just go about solving this as any other algebraic equation with an equal sign. So what we do first is subtract 0.1 on both sides. We're left with 1.4x is less than 2.8. We can divide both sides by 1.4, and then all we're left with is that x is less than 2, making our answer D. Let's move on to number 3. Mainland traveling basketball teams have 5 players. There are 37 beds in the en route motel. Write an inequality for the greatest number of basketball teams that can be settled in the motel. So we have 2 bits of information. We know that each basketball team has 5 players. So what we could do is say that, let's say x is equal to the number of basketball teams. This means that 5x would represent the total number of players. In other words, because we're taking the number of basketball teams and multiplying it by 5 players, because we know all basketball teams has 5 players. So now we know that we have 37 beds that can accommodate 37 players. That means that 37 has to be greater than or equal to our total number of players. Otherwise, we'll have no more beds. So that would make our answer B. Oh, I'm sorry. That would make it C, actually. These 2 expressions are equivalent. All they did was move over the 5x to the left side and the 37 to the other side. These 2 are equivalent expressions. Let's move on to number 4. How many football teams can be created of 50 players if each team consists of 11 players? Well, we know that we have 50 total players, and we know that one team has 11 players. So what we can do is that we can divide the players, which is the number 50, by the total number of players on each team. Or in other words, we can divide 50 by 11 to find how many total teams we can create. we can throw in a 4, and that's all we can do. We can only have 4 full teams before we have 6 players left over, meaning that we can only create a total of 4 teams. You can try the rest of these on your own, and for the rest of these, solve the inequality. Like I said before, you can just go about solving these like any other algebraic equation. Say x plus 2 equals 3. You can solve these in the same way you would solve these kinds of equations. The only difference is that if you divide or multiply by a negative number, you have to flip the greater than or you have to flip the greater than or less than sign. We can try solving number 1. 2x minus 3 is greater than 7. What we will do first is add 3 to get the variable by itself, and then we divide both sides by 2 to get x is greater than 5. We can try out number 4. What we can do first is divide both sides by 3 first. 0 divided by 3 is just 0. So we get w plus 12 is less than 0. You subtract 12 on both sides, and you get w is less than negative 12. Let's try some of these. 4 minus 2m is greater than 7 minus 3m. We want to get all of the variables on one side of the equation. So to do that, we can first add 3m on both sides, and we get 4 plus m, negative 2m plus 3m would just be m, is greater than 7. Now all we have to do is subtract 4 on both sides, and we get m is greater than 3. We can try one last one. We have 5d for number 11. 5d minus 8d minus 4 is less than or equal to minus 4 plus 3d. We can simplify this 5d minus 3d into negative 3d minus 4 is less than or greater, or is less than and equal to negative 4 plus 3d. We want to get all of the variables on one side of the equation, so let's go ahead and add 3d to both sides. You get negative 4 is less than negative 4 plus 6d. Add 4. And you're left with 0 is less than or equal to 6d. Finally, just divide everything by 6, and you get 0 is less than or equal to d. That'll be it for this video. I hope this was helpful, and thank you.